Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to continue working on part 11 of this house build. Let's get started. So in the last video, we were able to model all of this. Now we're going to continue working on this. And what I want to do is to add the model on this side now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to have a balcony here, but we're going to design this one first. So to do this, what I want to do is to go to our south elevation. And then once we're in south elevation, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to architecture, component, and then model in place. And we're gonna use generic model, press OK, and then OK, and we're going to create the extrusion right here, but we have to pick a plane, which is this wall right here. So I'm gonna set this one, pick a plane, and we need to set it in front of this. So this one is good. After that, we're going to click on extrusion now, and then we need to model our design. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull this one all the way up. I'm going to make this one at least 400. And then I'm gonna do the same thing around it. So 400 here. We need to move this one on the side so that we have more space for our design. And then here we're going to model it something like this. And then after that, TR, trim and extend on all corners. And then we need to remove those remaining lines there. Of course, we're going to extend this one a little bit to have our design to make it nicer. So I'm just going to extend this one. Around 800 or around 700, and then align it at the top. AL at the top like that. So click on finish, and then I want to see it in 3D, and then we're going to expand it. Of course, we need to change the material. And then in terms of how this one looks, we need to check how much depth this one is. So around 2000, so a little bit 400 more. So let's make it 2000 extrusion. And then click finish, and then actually we can change the materials here. So I'm going to use gypsum wallboard and then duplicate that one. Create duplicate, selected, and then press OK. And then click finish, go to south to check how it looks. And then 3D. So very simple, but we're going to put some design there for sure. We might have to pull this one up because actually we have to add this one right here. So we'll put this one up, edit the extrusion to make this one 400. so that everything is just aligned to this one right here, and we shouldn't go over anymore. I think that's the best use for this. We might go over on this side, so to be a lot, I'm going to check this one again, so around 1500. For some reason it's not going, so I'm just going to, there we go. I was putting it on the other dimension, so that's why it's not showing. So now I revise it to look like this. I want an extension here on the side, so we're going to add an extension of this one there. In terms of how long, depending on the way we want, we could just copy the 1500, and then we're going to do an extrusion there. So to do that, I'm going to do an extrusion, set, pick plane, and then we could just select this plane right here. And then we could go to either, I think this is west elevation, and then we could do the extrusion, and you want to make sure that it's gypsum wallboard number 3. That's the one that I just duplicated. And then here we're going to connect. And then I'm going to align this AL, align it to this corner right there, or to that face. So now it looks really good. I also want a closure here. So I'm gonna go back to west, and then I'm gonna create another extrusion, pick a plane, and then I'm gonna select this wall again. And then we'll want to make sure that you're consistent with what was the material is, and then we need to put 400, and then go back to 3D EL to align it to the other faces. So now we have something that looks like this, and that looks good right there. I'm happy with the way this one looks. And then now, what I want to do again is to maximize. So I'm going to click on finish this, maximize this window right here. I want to double check how this window is. So I'm going to push it up to here at the ends, and then up to here as well at the end of this. And then if we go to south, we can make this one nicer. Same thing, but let's just equal all of this, so it's easier to just do this instead. And then mullions, same thing, all grid, so that it's going to be added. So it's simple like that. And then here we could just elevation, so around 500. and then no stand. So when you see it, it feels like it's connected to the wall. And then let's do the same here, so that if we're in Twinmotion, it's showing like that. And you want to make sure that this one is like that as well. And then don't forget to turn this to none, so that you don't see anything on the level 1. So this one is modeled like that, but I want to add some design here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to south elevation and then edit, and then here what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add a void sweep. Oh no, not a void sweep, but just a void extrusion, just to give this one character. So I'm going to add something like this. Something like this right here. And then I'm gonna copy. But first I'm gonna set this one, pick a plane, and I'm gonna select this plane right here. I'm gonna copy this around 1000. Something like this right here. So it's just 50, and then the length of this, and then 1000 each. I'm gonna make it, I think, 3 of them. That's good enough. Let's go to 3D to see how it looks. I'm gonna push it something like that, and then cut geometry, and then as you can see, simple but with character. And then we could do it here as well if we want to, just to give that design right there. So let's go to south and then click here and then edit, and then void extrusion again, pick a plane and then select this plane. Here we're just going to do 2 and then 50, and then copy it 1000. There we go. So click on finish, go to 3D, and then cut geometry. We want to make sure that we don't go over to the design. I think that's good enough as well. It's not too much. So it's just giving us some design ideas there. Because if we go over that, I don't think it's gonna be good though. It's okay, but I rather to make it subtle enough to have that design there. Just we have it at the top, just a line, and then we have it right here. So it looks really nice. Thing we can do is to add a design at the back as well. Similar to that, we could add in something right here. So we could go to our north elevation and then we could just create a model in place again, generic model, set it, pick plane, and then we're going to use this plane right here, and then click on extrusion, and then here we can do is similar to that. We can create something like this, and then maybe we could just offset this one. I'm going to do 200 offset. Spacebar to go from the inside, and then we could just maximize this height. I could actually make this one 300. Actually, it's not going to be even on all of them, so I might as well just leave it like that. And then we're going to do the void extrusion. But before that, let's extend this one, similar to what we did here. So extend this one right here, go to level 2. We want to make sure that it's just more than enough, and then go back to north elevation, and then we could do a void extrusion. Select this one right here, and then we're going to create this one. But before that, let's set it. So don't forget to set it first, and we want it here. And then 50. And then we're going to add three. So we're going to add 1 here, and then there's going to be 2 on the other side, just for design purpose. Click finish, go to 3D, and then push it a little bit somewhere right here, and then click on cut geometry, so we have something that looks like that. And then go to level 2, and we're going to add our railing, and we're just going to add it right here. Click finish, go to 3D to see how it looks. So we're going to maximize that for sure. Edit path, and then push it all the way there. And then we have something that looks like that. We're going to do it on this side as well. So we could go to level 2 again, and then do it right here. We could nudge it so that we could maximize the space a little bit more, and then click finish and look at it at 3D. As you can see, that looks really good with that design. And then let's go to ground, because I want to see how we're going to delete some of the walls right here, so that we could prepare it for the next. So here we're going to split element here, and then we could delete this. And then here we're going to SL. This will be some designing here. but here we have our carport, so we need to at least split it on this side. Here we could do the design. So what we can do is go to our south elevation and double click here. I'm just gonna make it simple enough for this one right here. We're going to have something like this, maybe around 500. Push it a little bit right here, so not too much on the edge, something like that. CO, copy it, and then just copy it again, and then click finish. And as you can see, we have something that looks like this. For me, that's good enough. I like the way that looks. And then in the next video, we're going to add our gates. So thank you for watching and hope you liked the video. Please hit like and subscribe. Feel free to comment down below.